line up. H, you over here. LPC, you over here.
This reminds me of a story. Would you like to hear it?
Shut the hell up! I'll toss you and every one of you stinking steerage rats into the hop!
Where's my clan getting close? Is there no one who know him? No one?
I heard that we were going to be doing Into the Woods like pretty early last year.
I love Into the Woods, and I was like really excited about that show.
Spent the summer, of course, like listening to the show, like doing all of that stuff you do before you do a show, and
then it was August, and we weren't going back in person, and we weren't going to be doing Into the Woods.
I was expecting to do Into the Woods with a bunch of my friends in my senior year, and this was not really comparable to that.
I actually almost dropped out of this class because I thought that like we weren't going to be able to actually have a performance or anything.
And we started looking around at the usual script rental houses, and we were told that unless we could guarantee a live performance, we could not rent any scripts. At the time,
we didn't know exactly how it was going to be presented, but we knew we had the right kids, and we knew that we wanted to do a writing project, something where we could utilize Elisa Johnson's talents for composition and deal with some of the most relevant themes happening in our world today. And what we got was something more than I think anybody ever considered would be able to happen.
Eventually, I got a note from Bill and Aaron, and they sort of outlined their new plan. And as soon, I think they had me at, you're going to be writing music. As soon as they said that, I was like, I want to be involved with this.
I remember the first day we were in class, and Bill and Aaron told us we were going to be writing a show.
I've been playing piano since I was 5, singing since I was 9, but I also felt there was this kind of need to express myself and tell a story. I always try to tell a story with my music, and I think that's why I love musical theater, and that's why I love writing songs for musical theater, because I think it's so powerful that you can, put a story to music and use the music to move the story along. And I think a really great example of that is with Less Alone, because Less Alone was originally a song that I wrote last summer about the COVID pandemic, and it had different lyrics. And I sent it to Bill and Aaron, and they asked if I could put it in the show. And I said yes, and I'm going to have to change the lyrics. And I thought it was going to be really difficult, because it was like, oh, it's such a different time period, how am I going to make this work? And it took me less than an hour to rewrite all the lyrics, and some of them I didn't even need to rewrite, and I think that just sort of shows how topical this show is and how much it relates to today.
Travel back in time, I'd hold to what's now left behind. Was I truly this blind?
This is for the dreamer within my soul. I'll just have to wait a while.
Basically, the show is centered around immigration through Ellis Island in 1919 and on the stories that the immigrants bring with them. There was an influenza pandemic in 1918 and 1919, and now, almost exactly 100 years later, there's another pandemic, and we're also facing many of the issues that were surfaced in the show, and they're still all too prevalent in the world today.
I think one of the big things about this show is it really touches on the American dream and who has access to the American dream. And I think that is something that we're reckoning a lot in our country right now. And so I think it's a really important tension to bring up. Usually with immigration, we decide the process. We believe it to be, our country to be the great American melting pot. But from the stories in the show and from the stories that we read about, we know that it's not. And we know that it continues not to be. There is xenophobia, racism, just dehumanization in general of people that do not fit the privileged class of the United States.
So my character's name is Ani, a very traditionally Armenian name, and she is an Armenian immigrant. She's an Armenian refugee, escaping from the 1915 Armenian genocide. My family is Armenian, and we have a lot of history, my parents included, as being Armenian refugees escaping persecution for their culture. And then for the 1915 Armenian genocide, that was a genocide towards like my people that killed 1.5 million Armenians and only was just recognized as a genocide by the United States a few days ago, after happening more than 100 years ago. And then I guess the final similarity and a more personal similarity is it came in a, like you said, a very topical way, in a very timely manner, because there was another Armenian genocide just in 2020, right when we actually started writing the show, in late September to mid-November, and there were thousands of Armenians being killed across the world in predominantly Armenian territory called Artsakh. And again, the United States wasn't recognizing it. Most countries in the world weren't talking about it. There was no really intervention, and it was really hard to see my people, my brothers and sisters across the world being killed and no one caring about it.
But soon enough, we were putting the final touches on our script, and then we were going in to shoot scenes. It was crazy.
Being on set was like really cool.
All these cameras, and I mean, the set was beautiful. It was just insane.
I hadn't been on stage in a very long time, let alone in like costumes, and then there were cameras and stuff.
I've forgotten how much I miss being on stage.
If you go onto YouTube and you search how to clone yourself, a lot of videos will come up showing you how to utilize this one tool in video editing, basically an advanced split screen. You'll be able to put two characters who are filmed separately and put them together and display them on the same background. And of course, it was actually Sean's idea to use this in the show. Basically, we could film actors individually on stage, unmasked, and then have a camera person get in the crowd and then zoom in on the person's face with like lenses. But you could use that, and then keeping the camera frame the same, you could then film a separate student after like 15 minutes to let the air settle down on the other side, and then you could put them together, basically making it look like they were acting together pre-COVID. And there were a few problems with this. First of all, instead of 2 people, we were putting together 8 people. And instead of like a 1-minute clip for fun, it was the entire show. But Bill said yes. And that was when I knew for sure that Bill and Sean were about to go bananas.
And I think Bill and I are usually really, I think we're like really good for each other or really bad for each other. Because we always gotta egg each other on and like take things to the next level. And that's a great idea. What if we added this to it? What if we did this other thing? What if we did that except 3 times the size? And so it's just fun to work with Bill. So it's always a fun project when I'm working with Bill. But that's kind of what happened with this project, is we just started taking things to the next level. And what if we did this? And what if we added that? And it sort of, I think we stayed committed to that craziness for long enough that it sort of became a feature film.
Every second that you see in the movie was the culmination of hours of work, literally. VFX, we had color, we had sound, we had music, we had tons of scenes. I think one of the rough cuts that I sent to the team, I sent out around like 2 a.m. one Wednesday. Aaron was doing a lot of work mixing the music tracks and getting that all sounding pretty, because each person recorded the songs individually, of course. And Sean did more than I did, but the work paid off, and eventually we started reaching some major milestones. What is up, guys? We just finished rough cutting the last line of the show. Oh, it's far from done still. Obviously, tuning and tweaking, that's gotta be done, but that's the end of the rough cut. It's been such a journey. I'll see you guys. Just put the first scenes together and it's looking pretty good. Just dropped off the SD cards at Overlake for Sean to pick up. The rough cut of the whole show looking pretty good. It's done. With the show being done for a few weeks now, I've had a chance to sit back and reflect on how it all went. I mean, COVID happened. There's nothing we can do to change that. And I feel so bad for Sam and all the other seniors around the country. It must be bittersweet. And there's nothing we can do to remove that or take it away. Because I know that no matter what the end product that we reached, whether it was this or Zoom, Play, the process is one of the things that matters most, and there's nothing that compares to a real show. The show is about finding the silver lining, about persistence, about not giving up no matter what stands in our way. Ellis Island, COVID-19, both horrible and yet incomparable in numerous ways. The only thing really the same, how we choose to face it, or if we face it at all. And no matter what you thought of the show, the production, us, I hope you at least resonate with this, as we have all had to come face to face with it over the last 6 months, 9 months, year and a half. This is what we chose to do, and we gave it our best shot. What will you do?